Hey, Daily Doses, this is Pastor Larry here, and we're taking a look at forgiveness for a little while. Yesterday, Chris Brown took a look at what it means to understand God's forgiveness of us and to accept that. Today, I want to talk about our responsibility to return that same forgiveness to others. Now, that can be a really hard thing to do for a lot of reasons. First of all, in our human flesh, we tend to want revenge. We want to make sure you never mess with me again. But another reason why sometimes it's hard for us to forgive, as we're called to do, is we misunderstand what biblical forgiveness actually is. You know, when the Lord forgives us, it doesn't mean he forgets everything we ever did, which is one of those goofy ideas I've heard people say. Well, if I really forgive, it's as if it never happened. No, the Lord actually knows what we did. I mean, there's a lot of stories in our Bible about people that the Lord has forgiven, and their sin is listed. And I certainly don't know things that God's up there going, oh, I don't know anything about it. What it means when it says he forgives us is he no longer holds us responsible. He no longer carries out all of the consequences of it as we turn to him. He's wiped his side of the slate clean. And that's what the scripture asks us to do. Let me read you a section here in the book of Colossians, chapter 3, starting verse 12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, those of us that have stepped over the line to follow Jesus, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, the stuff that forgiveness comes out of. Bear with each other, put up with each other, and forgive one another if you have a grievance against someone. How do you forgive? Forgive as the Lord forgave you. What did the Lord do? Well, when the Lord forgave us, he pulled back the punishment. He pulled back the revenge. But guess what he didn't do? He didn't remove all the consequences. If I turn to the Lord and I say, Lord, forgive me, and I've destroyed my liver with drinking too much, I don't suddenly get a new liver. If I have done sins that have harmed other people and I am bearing the consequences of those sins, I'm not suddenly thrown out of prison. If I have been untrustworthy in my relationships, it's not suddenly God gives a lobotomy to everybody around me and those consequences are not experienced. You see, one of the reasons sometimes we think we can't forgive people is we think, well, they got away with it. No, not at all. What you're often confusing there is forgiveness and trust. I can forgive you right now by setting aside my fleshly responses to get even. But you have to earn your trust back. I don't suddenly give you a knife and turn my back and say, hey, do whatever you want. You see, this passage on forgiveness on the front end not only tells us to be filled with compassion and kindness and humility and all that, but it tells us what to get rid of that will enable us to be the kind of men and women who forgive. So let me read you a few verses earlier, Colossians chapter 3, verse 8. But now you must also rid yourself of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, filthy language. You know what? Why do those things come out? Because I've not forgiven you. When I get rid of those things, I can respond in a way that says, I'm going to let God deal with it instead of me having to take my own revenge. But again, please understand this, because you'll never be able to forgive if you think that what that means is acting as if it never happened. Then you'll become nothing more than a doormat, stepped on over and over and over again. No, each time I can say, you know what? I'm not going to get my own revenge. I'm going to let God deal with it. But at the same time, I can say, I'm not going to lay down in the street and trust you again not to run me over. Learning to balance those two things is the key to being able to forgive as God has forgiven you. Because if we don't understand that, we're going to seek our own vengeance, which never, ever works well.